There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello, and welcome back to Could It Be?
An Oak Island podcast.
We're your hosts, Deidre and Dustin White.
Yo, what up?
What up? Yo.
I thought this was a pretty fun episode.
Yeah, jam-packed.
Yeah, I mean, I might be in the minority. It seems like online reaction, it wasn't so hot.
Yeah, everybody's a real downer. So y'all
Not
need to
everybody.
stop. Well, obviously not everybody, but some vocal people.
Yeah, they're like, nothing happened. I'm like, I don't know. I think a lot happened.
I was going to say, are we watching the same episode?
Yeah, according to my notes, I think a lot happened.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it was fun. We had some interesting developments on the island. We have the sluiceway.
Oh, man, the
That was fun.
sluiceway.
That was fun to...
Yes.
That was just interesting. I mean, should we just jump in and talk about that? What do you think? Or should we wait until we get to
I was going to
to our
say,
notes?
maybe we leave that to, like, the finale.
Usually, like, the biggest news, they kind of break first, right? You know, like if you're watching the news, you don't save the big news till the end.
Are we news?
Well, no, not
Because
really.
that's news to
All right,
me.
well, we'll talk about it toward the end then. But I think the sluiceway,
Sluiceway.
I think that's cool. Anyway,
Could it be?
it could be. So,
Is the sluiceway like a highway?
for water, it is, like, legit.
Cruising down the sluiceway.
You know, it was pretty cool.
What?
When the show first opened, right?
Yes.
We have Marty inside a bucket of a tractor, right? With a chainsaw in hand.
It's not a tractor, but yes.
What was he in? I thought he was in a tractor.
He was an excavator,
Okay.
wasn't he?
He was in the wider scoop. It was like a tractor scoop.
Okay, I can settle on tractor scoop.
So it's just funny that he's like chill, like just that's how they get work done, right? It's just how they get work done.
With the chainsaw.
Yeah, and Rick was doing chainsaw stuff too.
I was waiting for them to like start juggling them between each other.
Yeah, and Charles was like driving the forklift, so Marty must have a lot of faith in Charles.
Whoa, I didn't even notice that.
Wait, is he the one you want to put your faith in? Like,
No!
He's the secret sneaky guy, isn't he?
He's the secret keeper.
Just kidding, Charles.
He's the secret keeper, and if you're not careful, he'll put you in the money pit.
Yeah, so it was just funny to see that, he's like in this scoop, just
Doing his thing. That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm. So then we had a lot of activity in that area that's kind of in between the Money Pit and Smith's Cove.
Correct.
Looking at sausage, right?
Choice sausage.
Choice sausage. Yeah, so come on, sausage, Terry says.
And Terry's, he's pretty excited.
Yeah, well, they have reason to be excited.
Sand?
Well, not just sand. I mean, doing the work that they did in it last week, pulling up the wood, having it potentially date, from 1730s, right?
Mm-hmm. We got a wood sandwich.
Yeah, and
Now we have sand. We have a sandwich.
We sure do. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so they found a kind of like almost like a void filled with sand, right? So like a 4-foot wide void.
Mm-hmm.
And Doug was excited about that because he's like, well, that matches historical descriptions of a sand-filled tunnel.
Yep.
And I'm like, I didn't hear about that before, but cool, sure. I mean, they know a lot more than us. And they probably talk about this stuff all day long, but they only have so much that they could fill into an
Guarantee
episode.
it.
So they probably talk
Yeah.
about looking for sand like all the time, and it just never came up before, and so they don't put it in the show, and now it comes up. They're like, oh, well, let's talk about this sand.
Let's talk about the sand and the 3-by-4 foot tunnel of sand. And then
Well, we don't know if it's 3 feet wide.
Doug said 3-by-4 are the descriptions.
Okay, yeah, that's the historical description. Sure.
Thank
Okay.
you. And we got a new animation out of it.
I always like the new animations.
But the new animation kind of was scary. I thought it looked like a bunch of teeth and you're like looking down the throat of some kind of scary creature.
Like the Sarlacc pit in Star Wars?
Sure?
You don't know what a Sarlacc pit is for real?
I can't
Okay, in
see
episode
it.
6, when they the Return of the Jedi,
Okay.
okay, you know, it's the one where Leia's in the bikini on Jabba the Hutt's barge, right?
Yes.
They take Luke to throw him into the Sarlacc pit so that he can get eaten by this, you know, this monster in the pit in the desert.
Yes.
And that's how they're going to kill him.
Yes, I just can't visualize.
It's like a big pit with teeth all around it. That's all it is.
Okay, well then, yes, that's exactly what it looks like.
Took a while to get there.
Well, I'm sorry if I didn't recall exactly.
That's okay.
Whatever.
It's okay.
Thanks.
Watch more Star Wars.
I'm too busy watching Oak Island.
Okay.
Thanks.
That's okay. Anyway,
enough of our debate.
We have tickets to go see the new Star Wars. Aren't you excited?
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it needs to get on the calendar, though.
Yeah, I mean, episode 7 was okay. Episode 8, I thought was good the first time I saw it, but thinking back, I'm not so sure it was good. It was just okay.
Wow, you're throwing out fighting words for people.
Well,
right now
nobody agrees with me about Star Wars, right? So
well, that's true.
Because my favorite one is, I won't talk about it here because I don't want to get made fun of, but
yeah, and you'll make us lose subscribers or
nah. But anyway, that's enough Star Wars talk. I'm just excited about the new one. Mm-hmm. So,
well, what
else are they doing with that sonic drill?
Well, they're excited about the sand, and Jack calls Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Rick? Yeah. And he's like, we found the flood tunnels.
No, he called Marty.
Oh, okay, yeah. And Marty's like, really?
Yeah. Like, he's like legit saying, we found the flood tunnels. No speculation in his voice. He's like, no, we just did.
Jack's 100% committed. When he finds sand, it's a flood tunnel. Mm-hmm. And when Rick shows up with them,
he's expecting to see something pretty impressive, I think.
He's like, but there's no wood. We all know.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. In my notes right there, when they're talking, you know, Rick is like, yeah, there's no wood. Marty's like, yeah, it's probably not a bad, it's probably not a bad thing. That's fine. But it was just, I wrote down that Rick has become a Marty, and Marty has become a Rick.
Now when we
the transition is complete.
Yes, when we ask people, are you a Rick or a Marty? It's a very confusing question now.
Yeah, all of a sudden, because I've been a Rick, and you've been a Marty.
I know. It's one of those, but what season? If you ask them, are they a Rick or a Marty, you have to say what season.
I'm a season 1, 2, and 3, and 4, at least, Rick.
But okay, so I've decided that Rick is just very tired of being enthusiastic all the time, getting everybody jazzed. And Marty's like, well, I have been the skeptic all this time, and now you bring me some solid stuff. I can be all in because I have the evidence. Mm-hmm. I feel you, Marty. I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, I don't know. Like,
the transformation's complete. We've gone through a wormhole.
Yeah, I mean, they just kind of like, it was a Freaky Friday moment, where they switch bodies. Yeah, switch spots. Like, the brains just got swapped between the two bodies, and yeah, I don't know.
Except it's a Freaky Tuesday, so maybe they just collided with each other somehow, like ran at each other, like, I want to see what it's like to be you, and yeah, and here we are today on Freaky Friday Tuesday.
Marty's like, wow, you're a lot taller.
Is that what it's like up here?
Yeah.
Is it what it's like to have undenying hope all the time?
Yeah. Yeah, so that was pretty fun. And then they, eventually decide to drill again and reposition the drill about 5 feet away to the west, I believe, right?
Yes. 5 feet away to the west, drill another hole. We get that core, and everybody's excited. Mm-hmm. I'm like 5 feet away, and I'm thinking the accounts are a 3x4 tunnel. Mm-hmm. Aren't we thinking we're not going to hit it? Well, I guess they're trying to go up the line, right?
Mm-hmm. But if you're off by an inch,
you're off by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? We got some very unexciting dirt out of that sausage.
Yeah, that was and it was funny because they set up like a whole outdoor war room for that.
Oh,
That's basically what it was. They're like so excited. They were expecting to find the rest of that, like another sample of the sand-filled flood tunnel.
oh yeah. And I'm just seeing this perfect side by side shot in my head of the outdoor war room versus the indoor war room. And everybody's very concerned with safety this year. I've seen a lot of vests come out
Good
for the
job. Good
outdoor
job,
war
guys.
room and the hats. Nicely done. Safety first. I'm a big fan of the safety first.
Yeah, the outdoor war room was a big rectangular piece of plywood board for the table, right?
Rectangular.
Yeah, rectangular, just like in the war room.
Nope, because in the war room, it is oval.
Whatever. Like you were trying to point that out to me, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like they don't show either end of it,
Yeah.
and it looks like a giant rectangle. They literally didn't show the corners at all.
I paused it and said, look, it's curved at both ends. And you
Whatever.
don't even remember our argument about it being oval or square.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm bringing it up now because I just don't think you're right. But that's okay.
Oh, man. I gotta go dig that one up. Classic. Classic. Anyways, what else do we got from that whole area up there? Not a whole lot.
Well, they do reposition the drill. They take that sample, don't like it. They're like, eh.
They don't like
Well,
it.
they don't like it. And
They're like, this sucks.
Well, they're like, you know what? Let's stop doing the expensive guessing drilling game.
Yeah.
Even though what they're switching to might be like way more expensive. It has to be like insanely more expensive.
What they're saying,
like 1,000 million times fold. I'm like, it's got to be so much more expensive.
Well,
1,000 million times, yes.
They're gonna move the sonic drill, I figured, to a different location, so they're not tying it up over there. And they all just really want to blow up that half of the island, anyways. So they're like, "Hey,
Boom.
let's put." Shush. Let's put dynamite all over that side of the island. We're going to blow it up. Let's see if something happens.
When Robert Clotworthy was explaining where they're going to set up all these charges, I was just like, my mind was like, like it's blown. Like it's so much of the island.
Well, we get this animation and it's pulling out and more of the island's being shown, and then more and more grid is being shown. I was like, is there...
Yeah, they showed the prior grids. And much smaller.
They're like...
much smaller.
Itty bitty living space.
Yeah, but I mean, so anyway, Eagle Canada shows up, right?
Oh, yes.
And our favorite giant of Oak Island
They're back.
Comes, trotting out of his car. He's like, yo, guys, I got 6,500 geophones. I got 18,000 charges.
Yeah.
I got 35 guys going to work on this when I had 15 last time.
Okay, we're talking about, like, a small military operation happening here. And that's, at least that's what I'm thinking.
Uh-oh.
What's going on?
That's my old phone over there. The alarm's going off.
If you're watching this video, I'm sorry. Pause.
I'll keep you entertained. So there she goes. She's going to go do her thing. And I'm chilling here with y'all. What up? If you got a problem, I'll solve it. That's what Alex the Giant says rolling on into Oak Island. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to get all this stuff planted, and then we're going to blow it all up. And then it's going to be like, boom goes the dynamite. I could say that because she's not here.
Hey.
Oh, hi. You're back.
I'm back from outer space.
Yeah. So, where
Alex
were we? Alex the Giant. Man,
stoked.
I just like that guy. He's cool.
He is cool. I would not want to mess with him or make him angry.
Do you remember that I had looked him up, and he was former #1 draft pick for this Canadian Football League?
Well, isn't someone else the ones that pointed out to us that,
he
was a football player?
Yeah.
I was like, well, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and then I looked him up, but he was not just a football player. He was a #1 draft pick for whatever year it was. I think it was like 1998 or something. But
that's an interesting path.
So he's a football player.
Uh-huh.
Then he got a degree in something, right?
I would think so. I don't think they just handed him some dynamite and say, "I think you'd be good at this."
And then he's got
and
probably
now
a successful
he's on
career
Oak
there,
Island.
and now he's at Oak Island blowing up half the island. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
In a grid-like pattern.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. So it was fun to see the Eagle Canada guys back, and I mean, we learned a lot about the seismic testing last year.
And
And
Rick
now we get to learn
excited.
even more. Yeah,
he is really excited about the dynamite.
He seemed kind of giddy.
Yes, he was like, "Yeah, they're back. Let's go blow stuff up."
And what I think Alex said, "Yeah, we're gonna get some stuff," and he's like, "Well, I hope it's more than some or something like that."
Yeah, we brought some dynamite or brought some powder or whatever. He's like, "Oh,
I hope it's more than just some."
I was
like, yeah, I mean. Yeah, the camaraderie between all those guys is great.
It's great. It's hilarious. It's epic. It's all the things.
All the things. So yeah, the whole like Eastern Drumlin's gonna get seismic charged, yo.
And they wanted to do this before. They're like, okay, let's just move this sonic drill. Everybody, please evacuate that side of the
whole island.
The Drumlin, let's go find something else to do.
From the swamp east.
Mm-hmm.
That's no man land right now.
It's no man's land. Stay out of there.
Yeah, that's why they're doing so much work over on the other part of the island. Doing the metal detecting and the archaeology work there, right?
Yes, and you know what? Speaking of sand, when they pulled up all that sand before, didn't they also pull up a lot of sand in the mega bin?
I believe so. I think that was what the anomaly was, right?
Well, if it were me, I wouldn't crib a flood tunnel that I wanted to last that long.
So Terry was kind of like, he was the one that was shocked that it was sand, right? And he's the geologist. He was like, yeah, we haven't seen sand in this area.
Yeah, not like this.
Not like this. But, I mean, if it was the same kind of issue or sand as the mega bin, yeah, I'm pretty sure I remember him being on hand for that. And so when they were doing the drilling and the samplings over there, so he probably has seen that, and so it must be somewhat different, or else he wouldn't have got excited.
You don't know that. Maybe.
I'm speculating. Isn't that what we kind of do here?
Yeah, you can speculate, but you're speculating wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Now that we're done there.
Okay, what are we doing? Now they're doing some metal detecting.
Yes.
On lot 27.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at her notes right now. It says lot 21.
Yep. I just assumed we were on lot 21 again because they were talking about the things.
The things. The McGinnis Foundation?
No.
The swages?
Swages. That's the word I was looking for.
Well, they found this new chisel.
Yes.
Today.
Today.
On the most recent episode.
Yes. It's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was big because I'm glad it's big because can you imagine being a tiny chisel and trying to hit it with a hammer and like hurting your hand?
Totally missing.
Yeah, I would like my thumb would be like crushed.
Probably find some broken thumb pieces around there.
Probably.
And the only thing a chisel like that could be used for?
The only thing, what? Tunneling
under that lot.
Oh yeah, that's what
Jack is sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
it's the only thing. I get that it's big and could take it. This isn't made for like fine details. It's made for taking off chunks of rock. But you could use that for making a mantle, or, we have Nolan's cross where one side of it was flat, right? You could use it for that. Yeah. That's not tunneling.
Nope. It's just funny because that's just where his mind goes because he's just excited about treasure. He's got the gold fever.
He does have the gold fever.
That's what our friend Mike would say about it. He'd have the gold fever.
Bit by the gold bug.
Yeah. So, who was there? We had Gary. We had Jack, of course, and then we had Peter Fernetti.
Yes, Peter.
Peter got some airtime.
He did, and he got to call his uncle.
Mm-hmm. He sounded pretty nervous, like
yes,
he's not comfortable in front of the camera completely yet.
But he's,
But hey, look where Alex was a few years ago, right?
Yes.
And look where he is now. So they have to give him these baby steps so that he can get really camera ready and like be able to tell a story on camera like the other guys can.
It's not. I mean, so many people have debated whether or not this show is scripted. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's not scripted, but when you stick a camera out there and in someone's face, it's going to make you either be nervous. It's really hard to get used
Freeze
to
up
it
a little bit.
Not being there. It's just...
Yeah, but he's been around it for years and years, but he's not expected to tell a story.
Exactly, or explain what's going on or anything like that.
Yeah, but he'll get there. I have a lot of faith in him. He seems like a good kid.
Oh, yeah, I have absolutely no doubt. I want people to understand.
He was a Marty, right? Remember? They were saying how he was like the skeptic nephew. Right?
The skeptic nephew. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. Ooh, that could be a card title.
Ooh, that could be. The skeptic nephew.
Yeah, well, that's not really a knight, a pirate, or a king.
We could put Sir Skeptic Nephew.
Yeah, well, we'll see how Peter's
King of the Skeptics.
Out. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there could be really good.
Yeah, cards are being mailed out. We'll talk more about the Oak Island trading cards at the end of the show.
Of course. The real Bobby Dazzlers.
Oh, my gosh. We have them in hand. If you want to see them, look at it. Go to YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube, go to YouTube and watch the video, and we'll show you what all the cards look like there. Awesome.
Possum.
Yeah. So, anyway, lot 27.
Check.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's funny? Like, right when Gary starts metal detecting, he's like, "Come to Papa." He's like talking to all his little...
all his little friends.
His little friends out there. And he scans something. He's like, "Oh, that's modern junk. I don't want that."
I'm going to pass on that. I hope you got big bags. We're going to do a lot of digging. And Peter's like, "Yeah, we got big bags."
He's funny. Gary's funny. Hey, you know what? Gary loves the trading cards. Just saying. Sorry, yes. I had to throw that in there. We showed them to Gary. He thought they were great.
That's good.
He said, "Game of Thrones, eat your heart out." And I'm like, "Yep."
Oh, they're just too much fun.
Yeah. So, then what?
Do we actually go over to lot 21?
We do go to lot 21, yeah.
Okay.
So, lot 21 is where the McInnes Foundation is.
That is correct.
And they haven't been able to do a lot of work over there because it's an archaeological sensitive area and it's protected.
It is.
Protected no more. Okay, well, it's still protected.
The cloak has been lifted. So, Craig officially declares Laird in charge of this lot. And he looks so excited. Like, his eyes are twinkling because he's like, "Oh, a new archaeological site, and I'm in charge." And you know what Craig's thinking? Keep Laird busy because we got to blow up the other side of the island. And if he's busy over here, he can be distracted.
Yeah, he's distracted, all right.
This is totally
be a lot of good
distraction.
Stuff over there. You know what's funny, though? So we had... So it was Craig. It was... Who else was over there with him? Alex and Laird, right?
Yes, and the GPR guys.
Yeah, they were talking to the GPR guys, Steve Watson and Don Johnston. They were the guys that did the scan in the area between the Money Pit and Smith's Cove. What is that called up there? I always forget what it's called. What do they call it?
Upper Beach.
Upper Beach. So a few weeks ago, it was the same guys that did that GPR scan. So yeah, cool, right? And
cool.
And then I like that they use the same people.
I was gonna say something.
It shows
about
that
them.
they have confidence in what they did before.
I really like them. I think of like the GPR tag team duo. That's kind of what they are in my head.
Yeah.
And then, but they did a really great job explaining about the GPR and the fact of why the dirt
soil disturbances and what it means.
the soil will never go back because it's a new composition, and why it's different. It's one of the reasons GPR isn't good in some places, because if you know there's been a lot of digging and soil disturbances and you're looking for a native soil. For example, maybe places where people have dug a lot of holes trying to find something, and then it looks like the same thing as maybe something buried
Like
under
The
there.
Secret?
Yes, just like The Secret.
Like our favorite treasure hunt? Well, I don't know. I think
No,
Oak
Oak
Island's my favorite
Island's our
treasure hunt
favorite.
now.
Yeah. Don't even try to throw The Secret as the favorite.
Well, it was for a while for me, but I think I'm back into Oak Island.
You're back.
Yeah, from outer space. Did you say that earlier?
Yeah. Sorry. My bad. My
No,
bad.
it's okay.
Okay, lot 21.
Yeah, well, okay, so we have the GPR guys. They're explaining how it all works. I love it. It's good stuff. And then when Robert Clotworthy was doing his voiceover and talking some about the how their equipment works, it was, what was it? Oh, I think their GPR can detect disturbances 15 feet deep, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but
It's
is a lot.
pretty deep, especially for what they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, because most of the stuff Gary's finding is really on the surface, right? And so if they can find some weird little disturbances, mark them. Gary comes over with his metal detector, says, "Oh, there's something there, Bobby Dazzler, woo!" It could just be like that.
It could, but what he's finding is very surface level.
Oh yeah, like within a foot.
Yeah, it's within a foot, but then we're also looking at the fact that we're right around a foundation, right? Craig points out we know that there's a couple wells and springs, original ones, that we still have the stones around the top. You can even see the slightly changed formation when they show us that it's right below the spring, the bigger anomaly they get that they've marked out. And what looks like potentially a filled in cellar. It was about 4 feet below the surface and about 4 feet wide.
Did we get a Clotworthy moment from that? Like a second cellar?
Maybe.
I don't remember if we did or not.
Well, I guess you'll have to find out.
Oh, maybe that's a thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
So it's just kind of strange, though. Like, I wasn't paying really good attention right then, I guess, because I don't know what. I was like, huh? Second cellar? What? I must have been taking notes about something else. And do you have
excuses? Okay. Excuses.
Whatevs.
Anyways, Laird points out that in the foundation that we can see that the way one part was cut out, it looked like maybe some cellar steps, and that potentially we could be looking at what they found with the GPR as a second cellar, which would be exciting because that would be like a root cellar, maybe a vegetable cellar, maybe where they hide buried treasure.
Maybe a treasure cellar.
Maybe a treasure cellar. Maybe
roots,
a wine cellar.
Roots, treasure, same thing.
Same thing. And I was thinking to myself with Samuel Ball, if he was a cabbage farmer, he definitely would have had a root cellar. And I'm thinking, well, McGinnis lives out there. I'm sure he did some gardening.
No, well, they said that's why he had those different lots, was for farming purposes. That's like his official reason. I'm doing the air quotes here.
Well, it makes sense.
It does make sense.
Back in those days.
You lived off the land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to put your food somewhere. Somewhere cold.
Brr.
Like in the ground, cold and dark. You put your potatoes in the cold and dark so they last longer.
Burr.
Your cabbage would go there too.
Burr.
Burr.
Yeah. I said a burr, chick a burr.
But Laird is very excited about this idea of a second cellar.
Heck yeah, he is.
I don't know. He was going to pull a jack, and I thought he was going to start digging with his bare hands and like...
Yeah. Laird doesn't go that crazy.
No, I thought he was going to have to hold back Jack.
I'm
just saying. There's lots of good reasons for a second cellar, and we would expect additional structures or wells within that property.
Well, I'm excited to see what they come up when they look further into it.
Whatever happened to that potential seller or whatever Laird found last year?
That was Samuel Ball.
Still,
Yeah.
we never heard anything else about it.
Well, that's the danger here. Maybe we're never going to hear anything else about the second seller.
Laird, what happened?
Well, if it's a nothing burger, why would they continue talking about it?
Because I want to know. I need closure.
What if it's like an amazing find of the century, and they're like, "Wow, we can't let the public know about this. Like, this will change the world."
What amazing find of the century could it possibly be? That pile of rocks.
Mm-hmm. I'm joking. I don't know.
I want to know about this supposed nothing burger. I bet you has some code written on it with a chisel.
Secret recipes?
Written in code. I don't know. It might be my favorite Clotworthy moment ever. Okay. Now what? War Room?
Yeah, they had some War Room stuff. They're talking with this new theorist, right?
New theorist. They call him like an expert.
Oh, he was an expert. He is an expert, right? Chip Reed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of him.
Have you?
I have, but I don't really recall from what. But he looked familiar to me, and I know I've seen him somewhere before.
Was it just on a
It might have been
commercial
on a commercial for
Oak Island?
No. I had seen him somewhere before.
Uh-huh. Well, he's an author.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in the U.S. Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's weird.
In that.
Yeah, well, you figure he'd be a Navy guy.
Why?
Because he's like an expert on naval ships, and he's. So let me see what I have in my notes.
Marine history and.
He's a naval historian.
Yes.
Okay, Navy, but he's a Marine. It's just I know that you have it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive, but it's just funny that he's a Marine, but he studies Navy stuff.
Yeah, but even the term Marine,
so Mariner. I don't think that's how this one works.
That's how it works.
Maybe.
It has to be.
Anyway, he shows them a diagram of a water battery, right?
Yeah, I tried Googling water battery. You know what I got?
What?
A lot of green energy information. I was like, well, that didn't go as expected.
Yeah. The team seemed impressed by the potential link to the L-shaped structure found, last year in Smith's Cove.
Well, I was impressed.
Mm-hmm.
There even looked like, as I was looking at the illustration he had, a Billy's wall. That's all I've got to say.
Well, Billy's wall might be the most important structure of all time. So
of all time.
It might be. I don't know.
It could. It really could be. But like Marty said, he hadn't really thought of it as a military operation before.
Until now, I guess. But it's such a small island, though. It's so tiny. How are you going to stage a whole military operation there?
It doesn't have to be a big military operation. You just need to be well placed. That's kind of the point.
It's just a tiny little spit of land in the middle of the North Atlantic. Okay, not in the middle, but just off the shore of the North Atlantic. It's really tiny.
Okay, Charleston, the entire island is the fort. Whatever that fort is called.
Sumter?
That one.
Okay.
So the entire island's the fort in this case, too. That's okay.
Yeah, okay, sure.
It's about strategic placement.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't put much thought into it, okay?
Well, also, Gary says it only makes sense. Who would have the manpower to do all of this except for an older military? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes sense.
It seems like, duh.
Yeah,
to me.
If they're going to dig a 200-foot pit or dig in from the side of the beach, a tunnel, one way or the other and down, you'd have to have a huge
chisel.
It'd be a huge it'd be a huge operation, right?
It would be a huge operation of skilled workers potentially.
Yeah, so I mean, the military makes sense. Pirate with like a shipload of slaves would make sense from back
Mm-hmm.
that in those times. So
Yep.
I mean, it's possible,
So
but it
yeah,
seems I don't know. I don't know.
we hear more about the Duke D'Anville.
Oh man,
We can't get away from that guy.
Alex's great 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 grandfather.
Man, doppelganger.
They look exactly alike.
The traits, the face traits.
Yeah, you know that's funny. So our friends over at Booze and Bourbon,
Uh-huh.
Kimberly, I showed her that image of Alex next to the Duke D'Anville,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, yeah, she said the same thing, doppelganger. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
they look like they are related. Like, how can they not be
Exactly.
related? I've been saying it for a long time too,
But when
for a couple of years, right?
we finally get some really great like face-on shots of Alex, and then you put him next to the Duke.
Yeah, go to our Facebook page or Twitter for us, and like I made and like during the episode last week or this week, I made a side by side comparison of the Duke D'Anville and Alex Lagina, and I said, don't even try to tell us that these guys aren't related. You
It's a
know?
little crazy.
Yeah. So it's just funny. Go and check it out because I mean they look like they're relatives, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and a couple years ago, Doug was telling us about the ship's log, talking about a
Yeah.
treasure,
Yeah, that was one of the top. Was like the number 3 theory
something like
from
that.
the theories episode. Yeah, so Doug went into detail about how they have this 8-page ship log of the expedition from the Duke D'Anville.
Mm-hmm.
It's his ill-fated one, the one where he died on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they talk
Yeah.
about unloading treasure on an island and digging a pit to hide it, right?
Mm-hmm. That was what, 1746, and then
You know, it's funny. Like I have no trouble like thinking about that and contemplating that. But when the new theorist comes up and says, "Yeah, military," you know, that's what Duke D'Anville was leading, the military. And like,
exactly.
I don't have a problem accepting it when I think about it that way. But the other way is like, I don't know, but it's the same thing.
It is. Well, and it would actually give you. So what he's saying is, after the French founded Louisburg, and then they were going to be attacked by Pepperell's men,
Yep.
right? That they know they're coming, and they're thinking, you ain't gonna get my treasure and my gold, so they pack it up and move it. Why not move it to another military operation they'd be connected to, such as with the Templar?
Okay, but there's still not like there's not 2 miles worth of walls and 30 feet tall walls to fortify that on Oak Island like there was at Louisburg.
Okay, but that's kind of the point at the same
Hidden
time.
in plain sight.
Yeah, for example, I mean, okay, let me give a disclaimer here. Please don't go rob museums, but they are, with these priceless works of art, notoriously some of the worst security.
Yeah, don't go and try to rob museums,
Well,
people.
just think about it, because these priceless works of art, there is no aftermarket for it unless you can authenticate it, but then for someone to authenticate it would be to know you stole it. Hide it in plain sight. Same thing.
Sure,
I'm just putting it out there.
I hear you. I feel you. It's yeah. I mean, no one's gonna walk in and steal the Mona Lisa or anything, but
Well, it has been stolen many times,
it
actually.
has. But I don't think you're getting it out of the Louvre right now,
Okay,
though.
you're not getting it out of the Louvre, but the Mona Lisa has been stolen.
Yeah.
Just saying. So you
Yeah,
can't
you're
say
right.
you're not going to go steal the Mona Lisa.
Probably not gonna happen though.
It's probably not going to happen nowadays. It's that one's closely guarded.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yeah. I mean, his theory, Mr. Reed, was fun to listen to. I think the guys around the table, the war room, enjoyed it.
Yeah, they seemed really impressed.
I mean, I don't know. The L-shaped structure is like an obtuse L, right?
Yes.
And that's, I mean, it's like a greater than symbol. It's like
Yeah.
literally.
It's a big greater than
Yeah,
symbol.
I know. It's just like, but it's a common shape. I mean, it's not like so uncommon to me. Like you don't see them like just hanging out everywhere or anything, but it's not like, it's like two lines adjoin, and I mean, it's like, yeah.
Okay, you remember what I was talking about?
But why would it be there though? Is the difference?
Well, like last season, people are like, okay, so why are these walls within the cove built this way?
Yeah.
As far as keeping something in or out. Go Google like ancient trenches and such from war,
Okay.
and you will see something that looks very similar
To what? The
to
U-shaped
those
structure?
walls that I was talking about, like Billy's wall and such, and they were
Like the
filled.
most important structure
Yes, the most
of all human
important
history?
structure. But why is something that seems like a military use there, and then not very far away, there's an obtuse L that also shows up on some type of military?
Sure. I mean, hey, I'm willing to entertain it, right? The guys in the war room were willing to entertain it. Doesn't mean that it's right. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. It gives us something to really
It
think
doesn't
about.
mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's got to be one of those.
But it gives us something to really think about and consider.
Yes.
And I bet you anything, those guys in the war room have been considering it a lot.
That's a true statement.
And that's what they got to do. You got to really think about it. And
All I'm saying is I'm on board with the military.
good for you.
Thanks. Not good for you.
No, I'm willing to accept that could be a thing, but
Okay.
I'd like to see some follow up on it.
You are Rick. You're just following his new path, I've decided. You're not as hopeful.
I'm very hopeful. What are you talking about?
No, I guess hopeful is not the right word. You're following Rick's season 7
Arc?
his obtuse L.
Sure.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that
I liked it.
That fort they were showing in Lewisburg is pretty significant. Like that was a big. Yeah. It like the city that's there now can almost be put inside this fort. Like that's how big this sucker was. Pretty huge.
Well, it's like I said, that's a no Fort Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like we have a fort here. It's very small.
Yeah, but I mean,
comparatively,
it was like the first thing ever built in this area.
It was.
And this is just a replica that we have here now. Like the original's not.
Yeah, the original site's not.
Yeah. So another thing that is cool about this area in Lewisburg that Kimberly, again from Booze and Bourbon, brought up is that the Duke d'Envie is buried supposedly. I haven't looked it up, so I'm just taking her word for it, and she knows a lot more than we do. She's from the area, but buried beneath the floorboards of this church in Louisville. Lewisburg. Sorry, Lewisburg. So that's cool. Maybe I wonder if he haunts that church, like because their podcast is about ghosts and bourbon.
Yes.
So yeah, booze and bourbon's BOOS, like boo, like paranormal stuff, and bourbon like glug glug glug. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Not like boo hiss.
No, not quite.
No.
But yeah, just fun to think about though.
Yeah, it lines up with the whole him coming back to Lewisburg to reclaim the fort, and then dying of scurvy or
whatever on the boat. Yeah, they said hundreds died on the boat on the voyage back with the 13,000 people, right? And what happened there? Our door opened. Yeah, 13,000 people or so died coming back. Or what am I talking about?
They died coming 13,000
No, not 13,000 people. So we had about hundreds of people die, and he happened to be one of them out of thousands. That's kind of a bummer.
That is terribly unfortunate.
It is, but what can you do?
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah. Do you want to go?
Yeah. Go do that. We're having an interesting morning.
Yeah. So we are recording early in the morning before our children wake up, and it seems one of our children have woken up. And so we're going to go and okay, Deidre is like making sure the kids stay out of our recording space, and she's back.
I'm back.
Yeah. So we should probably begin like getting through the rest of the stuff so we can attend to our children.
Yes, don't worry. Someone's watching them.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So we have Eagle Canada on my notes. Had done some more preparation. Starts really gonna start blowing the stuff up, right?
Blowing it up.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got the kind of big find at the end of the episode, right?
Dun dun dun.
Dan Henske's revelation.
Man, Dan.
Dan Henske, Dan the man.
I feel like now anything that's found needs to come to Dan to render an opinion.
Yes.
Or he's got more information than we
It's
know.
all about. Hey, it's if you talk to Rick, it's all about the rendering of opinions. That is all. That's what he is about.
That's his jam.
Yeah. So Doug said that Dan Henske found information from Mel Chappell, going through his
papers. And
his papers, his research, and his
stuff.
his findings. Right. There was a tunnel dug from Shaft 9 down to the shore, and there's supposedly a sluiceway. Is it sluice? Yeah.
Sluice, yeah.
A sluiceway connecting the two. And what is a sluice, you might ask? I looked it up on Merriam-Webster's Dictionary.com.
Very official.
And it says it's an artificial passage of water fitted with a valve or gate for stopping or regulating flow.
Mm-hmm.
Also, a body of water pent up behind a floodgate, a dock gate, a stream flowing through a floodgate, a channel to drain or carry off surplus water, a long inclined trough, usually on the ground. So there you go. I mean, that's what they found, right?
That is what they found. And when I started looking into sluices, the first thing that comes up is like the gold mining sluices, where they're, like it's
Painted
a big
for
wash
gold?
plant.
Yeah.
Is kind of what it looked, a small wash plant. And in this case,
They channel the water down and get the...
And it's got the little steps and separates it, and the gold falls in there.
Yep.
And all I'm thinking is Shaft 9, and there's a sluiceway at the end, and they never got to test it because they went bankrupt. Now they find the sluiceway. If they open up the sluiceway, I have visions of gold just like sitting in it, just filled. Because that's what they used.
Yeah, probably not.
No,
but
that would be
that's
amazing.
A nice thought.
And so they're on the south shore.
Yeah, according to the records, the sluiceway was about 120 feet from Shaft 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then the theory is find the sluiceway, find Shaft 9, trace that back to the money pit.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time when this stuff was built, they knew where the money pit was. Now it's a mystery mostly because of the Dunfeld expedition where they dug up, 100-foot wide hole and then filled it back in without much regard. And I mean, so it's a mystery now, but back when this thing was built, they knew where it was.
Yes.
And so that's what the hope is.
And
I saw some people say, yeah, like, sure they didn't know about this. Like, why is this coming up all of a sudden? And it's like...
Have you seen all the information?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff to go through, so much history. I mean, of course, they can't get to everything. Maybe they did come across this a couple years ago or whatever, but you can't follow everything at all times. That's not how this treasure hunt works. That's not how any treasure hunting works. You find leads all the time, but you can't follow up on everything at once.
Well, and you may have heard of this sluiceway, but to be able to really tell where it's at, maybe they finally got a real description of where it's at. And you have to consider that road they were on would have been built after the sluiceway. We saw when Marty hopped in the excavator and started pulling boulders. And then, as Billy tells us, the last tooth was catching on something. And his heart probably sank.
Well, hey, let's talk about Billy real quick before you get there, because Billy wasn't there when he jumped into the excavator. And then Billy shows up and he's like, oh my gosh, I have to watch you do this. Okay. And then he's like telling Marty step by step, like, this is what you need to do. And I think by the end he was like, you've done well, my Padawan.
Yes. Well, Billy practically comes running. It's like he knew someone had hopped into his equipment.
He probably heard it from far away. He's like, oh, no, I got to get down there.
Yeah.
But then, okay, Marty's kind of the boss. You can't just tell him to get out of the equipment.
You can't just kick the boss out of your equipment. And it's funny because they drive up and, like I was telling you, I was like, okay, so there's just an excavator sitting there and a dump truck. And that's when it had dawned on us, oh, well, Billy was getting stuff to the site.
Yeah.
He was probably bringing another truck or something, and Marty shows up, and it's like, ha, ha, ha. Sorry, Billy.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes here, Billy joins and be like, what you doing in my equipment?
Get out of my stuff.
Yeah, it's fine. He was able to instruct, that's exactly what he did. He instructed Marty while he was up there. He's like literally... Okay, they're doing the digging. They got out, a lot of the stuff. They're still not seeing anything. They start seeing. Then the first person to notice anything was Billy. He's like, "Oh, look, there!" He spotted the water.
There it is.
And then he's like, "Okay, Marty, bro, Padawan, okay, young learner, okay." He's like, quarter of a scoop, like literally
a quarter of a scoop.
Quarter of a scoop. He knew exactly what to do because. Like legit, he is the master.
Yes.
Like he's Yoda, right? And I mean, what is Marty at this point? Marty's like a young Luke Skywalker, like in episode 4 before he got any of his powers.
Billy does wear a green shirt. We have solved the mystery.
Yeah.
Yoda, a.k.a. Billy.
Forget Baby Yoda.
Forget Baby Yoda. Billy Yoda.
Heck yeah.
Yes. Forget Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Baby Yoda's
Billy
cute.
Yoda. He's cute, but he's no Billy Yoda.
Billy Yoda,
I almost said Billy Yoda.
He's the master.
He is. He is the master.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's like a good equivalent. That's like a really good comparison.
Yeah. And then he also is the first person to spot the slew sway.
Well, because he felt it, like the force. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I was going to say he wasn't in the excavator.
No, but he just felt it. He knew. He knew it was there. So
Billy's sluice.
Yeah, that's what they should call it.
Billy's sluice.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of where the episode ended. They kind of, what did they say? They said uncorked it, basically, right?
Yeah, because it starts pouring out all this water, and they find the clay in it.
Yeah, but so if Billy noticed it first, told Marty what to do to get that last quarter scoop, once they started seeing it like running, who was the first one down in that hole?
Rick.
Duh.
He practically dove in, and Steve did too. Steve Gupta. I was like, is that Steve in there?
Steve was all about it. And he's like getting his, his marker.
Yeah, right? I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I could believe it. These guys are passionate about what they do.
Yeah, but he didn't need to get in there to mark it that way. But he definitely was. Him and Rick were like swan dive in.
They jump right in.
No problem.
Someone else that shows up that's new to viewers in the team. I knew a little bit about this gentleman, and he's shown up here or there. But his name's Scott Barlow. And he is a project manager.
Yes.
For the operations of Oak Island. And I saw yesterday on one of the Facebook groups, somebody's like, "Who's this Scott Barlow guy?" Like he just showed up. And Scott replied to that, and I'm going to read what his reply was, just so that everybody's a little more aware of who he is and what he does, right? And Scott said, "I'm always here, though I may not post much. Too busy weeding out the hoodlums, lol." I think he's, because they were, like, asking about him in the group. So, but on to what he said about, like, his association with Oak Island.
Yeah.
I followed the mystery since I was 12. I read a fiction book called The Hand of Robin Squires. I was hooked ever since. I've been to the island quite a few times over the years. Last fall, I was over to help out for a couple of weeks. This year, Rick asked me to come on as a project manager. It was a new role to help keep the wheels turning on multiple projects on the go. My day could consist of anything from running a piece of equipment to running a shovel to coordinating with contractors and getting done whatever needs done. Uh, it was tough to pull off. I have a business here on Pi, P-E-I, but I was fortunate enough to find someone to step up and take care of the daily requirements so I could head to Oak Island for 7 months. Wow, 7 months.
That's a long time.
That's a big commitment. So we thank Scott for that. It was a crazy busy season, the most ambitious yet. I have no regrets. I couldn't say no. How often does someone call you up and say, hey, want to come look for treasure? LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they showed more of the actual work that goes on the island so that people have a better understanding. Our days could be 12 hours or 16 hours long, but only minutes of that actually make it to the air. And that's why it looks like everything is happening so fast. Lots of interesting stuff to come, so stay tuned.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, hey, I'm glad that he replied and that we got a little more insight on who Scott Barlow is. And I think he's a very important cog in the wheel to keep everything running smoothly on Oak Island.
Especially with so much going on. I mean, really a lot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's cool to have, a new expert. He's an expert in keeping the wheels moving. So,
yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, well, they all have, Steve Guptill's another new expert on the team, expert surveyor. Billy's the heavy equipment expert. We got Doug, expert historian. They just call him historian, but I'm going to throw in expert because I think that's what he is. And same with Paul Troutman. Those guys are expert historians and researchers.
Terry, expert geologist.
Heck yeah, he is.
Heck yeah.
And then we got Laird, the expert archaeologist. Why not?
That's going to be busy.
Yeah,
on Lot 21.
Heck yeah. So, anyway, that's kind of how,
That's how the cookie crumbles there.
It was a fun episode. I thought it was great.
I loved it. I thought we got a lot.
I did too. That last scoop was like popping the cork though, and
then water.
Billy's like, yeah, I knew it.
I knew it. Billy knows things.
Quarter of a scoop.
Quarter of a scoop. That's all it took.
And so that's the end of the episode. Then we have next time on The Curse of Oak Island.
Yep.
What happens?
Potential 1700 ship spike from Gary.
Yep. And probably the whole eastern drumlin looks like a minefield.
Yeah. It's just...
Yep. Lots of explosions. Then we had Darcy O'Connor in the war room. So Darcy is a
familiar face.
Yeah, he's been on the show a couple times, right? I know we've seen him, and he
wrote a book.
Yeah, he's written many books about Oak Island. He's a theorist, right?
Yes.
And like one of his books is, I'm looking it up right now because I just want to make sure we give it a shout out. Oh, I can't find it off the top of my notes here. Stall for me.
I was going to say, I probably have it here. It's called like The Mystery of Oak Island.
Oh, yeah, you're reading it.
Yes.
You'd been reading it just before. Yeah. So, yeah, the Secret Treasure of Oak Island.
Yes.
Okay. And that's one of his books, and it's actually available on Audible.
Yes.
And you can listen to it for free if you use our Audible code, right?
Could you?
You could. So if you go to audibletrial.com/OakIslandPodcast, you can get a free month of Audible, and you can get this book. You get the Curse of Oak Island by Randall Sullivan. You could go. There's a few
kinds of Oak Island.
There's a few other Oak Island books. There's Harry Potter books. There's Lord of the Rings. There's anything you want. You get it for free, no strings attached. If you don't want to continue your membership after the free trial period, you could cancel anytime and keep the book. So, yeah, I mean, what do you got to lose? If you want to maybe get in front of this episode and be more of an expert on who Darcy O'Connor is before the book or before the next episode airs, right? You can just go to audibletrial.com/OakIslandPodcast, get your free audiobook, and who knows, right?
Who knows?
Then you can have a free book. So I wasn't planning on doing that that little ad spot there, but we want to thank Audible for sponsoring our podcast. So thank you, Audible.
Thank you, Audible.
audibletrial.com/OakIslandPodcast. Go there now. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we blow up half the island. We hear something about wood, water, and a tunnel.
Yep, there's excavator work. Looks like everybody's standing around watching the excavator pull up stuff in a deep pit. We're not sure exactly where that was. It could be near the sluiceway. It could be the cave-in pit. I don't know.
They agreed a deep pit should be dug.
Yeah, I don't know. So...
dig it.
Yep. Dig.
Dig.
So that's that.
Know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's Clotworthy time.
Yeah. Okay, so the last week's winner was kind of a blowout. And it really surprised me because it was like the shorter one. I mean, I think people do it because they don't want me to spite you. Yeah, they don't want me to have my enjoyment in the Clotworthy moments.
They don't want you to have joy in your life.
Yeah, kind of sad. Now I need a hug.
Oh.
So you pat me on the leg. Thanks. That's good enough. That's what I'm worth. Thanks. I said I need a hug, and she pats me on the leg. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so yeah, last week's winner was 13
branches.
I was about to say it. Yes, 13 branches.
You don't say it as well as Robert Clotworthy.
I know.
Sorry.
I'm not a professional voice actor, okay?
Maybe you should practice, then you could be.
I don't think I have the voice for it. Not to put me. Yeah, I can't do what they do, but that's fine.
That's a good thing they can do what they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, that was a fun, it's 13 branches. I mean, that was a fun
It's a nice
discussion last week,
And that theme tends to carry.
Well, it didn't carry to this week, did it? I don't think we heard anything about the Founding Fathers theory or the 13 branches or anything this episode.
No.
So it doesn't carry, does it?
It carries, not necessarily from episode to episode.
I know what you mean.
You stop it.
Oh, I asked for a hug, and now I got punched in the leg, so thanks. You're the best.
See what I put up with, guys?
Let's see what I put up with.
Okay, the first one is, and this is for this week.
Okay, this is what you'll have to vote on. All right, go ahead. Let's hear it.
A sand-filled tunnel packed with hard clay and found some 100 feet deep beneath the cave-in pit area.
Ooh. I like it.
It's longer for you.
Thanks.
But it's good.
It was a good one.
The sand-filled tunnel. Yeah. Or whatever you called it.
Fun. All right. Well, that's option one. What's option number two?
A possible second cellar hidden below the home of Daniel McGinnis, one of the three young men who discovered the original money pit in 1795.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
I'm pretty much psychic.
Yeah. Or you watched the same episode as me.
I just didn't recall that there was a Clotworthy moment because you pick all this. I just.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
A second cellar.
Yeah.
I mean, roots.
Or something. Or
and
gold.
Wine.
Or gold.
Or that. Or maybe wine is
if
the
I
treasure.
had so much gold and I was living back in like the early 1800s and I didn't know what to do with my gold, I'd build a second cellar for it. Why the heck not? Right?
Really? No, because I think I'd store it in my house and like sleep by it or something. Like Scrooge McDuck style, where you can dive in. Maybe that's what he did with the cellar.
That's got to be really uncomfortable.
So
you can vote for your favorite Clotworthy of the moment of the week.
Clotworthy of the moment.
Are you gonna do your little thing here?
Oh,
vote
here. You can vote. It's like here-ish.
Somewhere up here. I'll be right here.
Okay. Well, if you're watching the video, this makes sense.
Yeah. I'm doing an E.T. voice, and we're touching fingers, okay? My finger's not glowing like E.T., but...
That's good. I'd be running you to the hospital.
Anybody see that E.T. ad that Xfinity's running? I did. Like, it's weird to, like, enjoy an ad, but I enjoyed that one.
It's a long ad.
I thought it was better than the movie E.T. Like, I'm not so into E.T. I thought E.T. was kind of weird. It kind of freaked me out as a kid.
A lot of things freaked you out as a kid.
Did we talk? We talked about this on our live stream.
Probably.
Yeah, it just freaked me out because like E.T. is like on that table and he's like almost he's about to be dissected or something by these government officials, and they have the whole house tarped off and people in like bunny suits. Like it was just a weird movie. Like it was like it creeped me out as a kid.
It's almost weird as this E.T. tangent.
Yeah. Hey.
Okay, so you can vote on YouTube. You can vote on Facebook at Oak Island Podcast.
Yep.
You can also vote on Twitter at Oak Island Pod.
Yep.
And then if you just want to chat with us, we're also on Instagram.
We are.
At Oak Island Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And where else are we?
You can email us,
Yep.
OakIslandPodcast@gmail.com.
Or give us a call.
Oh, give us a call. I wasn't ready for that one.
Well, you can call us.
Yeah, I literally was looking at my, I wanted to, like, I was getting ready for reading a review, right?
Well, I'm sorry.
So, okay. So, yes, you can call us 360-836-4549. And, you know, we've had a few calls this week, and nobody wants to leave a message. Like, what's up with that?
Sad.
Or maybe we don't know how to find the messages or something. Like maybe there's something kind of error on our end.
I know how to find the messages.
Yeah, well,
they're not there.
I get notifications like someone has called this line, you know, and I'm like,
maybe it's a spammer.
And they're like, oh, what the heck's an Oak Island podcast? Click.
What the heck's an Oak Island podcast?
I mean, maybe, I don't know. It's just, hey, we want to hear from somebody. Please call us, right?
Call us.
Don't be
jingle.
shy. We might not. If you don't want us to use your voice on the air, just say it, and we just won't.
To disguise it?
Could like put a filter over it. You talk like this or something.
Oak Island Podcast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, we could use a filter.
Something like that. Yeah, so cool.
Reviews?
And, well, I mean, call us, though, please. You know, it'll be fun.
Give us a ring.
Yeah. All right, so we do want to read a review today from Apple Podcasts. We got another one on Facebook, but I'm having trouble finding it.
Oh, sad.
It's okay. Save it for next week. All right. Apple Podcasts, we have a review from Ben-Jamin. So Ben is jammin', right? Is that what that's saying?
Or Benjamin.
Yeah. Yeah. 0128. Okay. So it says best podcast. What? I mean, I think we're okay. I didn't know we were the best.
I mean, that's really kind of you.
You know, maybe we are the best. I don't know. Who am I to judge?
I don't know.
All right. I absolutely love this podcast. Very funny, entertaining, and great conversation.
Aw.
I recommend this to anyone I know that loves Oak Island. Please keep up the great work, and I'm rooting for the History Channel to make y'all the official podcast of Oak Island. Thanks, guys. From Ben Woodkey in Vancouver, Washington. Ben, you live in Vancouver? We live in Vancouver.
Say what?
And we don't know who you are. It's not. Well, we didn't like say, "Hey Ben, buddy Ben, you know, you're my friend. Give us a review." I don't know any Bens.
Well, I do now.
Yeah. Well, Ben, thanks,
Buddy
man.
Buddy Ben.
Thank you so much for the awesome review. I love it.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, small world, huh?
Yeah, seriously.
Cool. Well, if you want to leave us a review, we can read it just like we read Benjamin's. And
Ben be jammin'.
Yeah, Ben be jammin'. And, you know, we can chat about it, and we love the nice words, and the encouragement always helps.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes me feel great.
It does make me feel
great. How does it make you feel?
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Fantiferific, even.
Heck yeah.
So if you also could it be an Oak Island podcast, then leave us a 5-star review.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a minute of your time. We love it, and it helps other people find us, right?
Sure does.
All right. So I think that's kind of basically the end, right? So before we go, we do want to show off some of our trading cards if you're interested.
Yes.
And we don't know why anybody wouldn't be interested at this point, because these are flipping legit.
Too legit to quit.
Yeah. So audio only listeners, you're going to want to go to YouTube to look at this, because we're going to do some descriptions. We're going to try to describe it so it's makes sense, but you know, it's easier to probably just watch. Okay, so these are what the cards were originally going to look like. This is what we showed off last week, which is a nice looking card. But since then, it's gone through a couple revisions, and Deidre has totally, like, Deidre's the one that made these, and they're literally probably some of the best things ever made. I'm just gonna say that it's like, look at their design for the Rick Lagina card.
Here's Rick in the sleeve. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, so this says Sir Rick Lagina, the Warden of Truth, and like, this card looks so much better than the prototype did last week.
Oh yeah, we came a long ways.
Yeah. We when we mail them out to the people that support us through Patreon, we're gonna have they're gonna be in like little plastic sleeves for, to protect them.
Yeah, so you'll get one in each.
Yeah, and so I mean, this is pretty awesome to have these in hand finally, like the final versions of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
you got your front.
Yeah, an example, and they have text on the back, and they're numbered. So Rick Lagina is number 1. Because, come on, Rick's number 1, right?
Right.
I mean, they're in no particular order, really, but, I mean,
yeah,
they happen to, that's the way the cookie crumbled. All right, and here's card number 2. We have Gary Drayton.
Okay, so we got Gary in the swamp with Excalibur.
Yep, it says the King of England, Gary Drayton. And it has a story on the back of the card that talks about Gary Drayton becoming the king.
Yep.
and pulling the sword from the stone. So it's just a funny little story that we worked on together, and it's just fun stuff. All right, here's the third card.
We got Sir Alex Lagina.
Yeah, Sir Alex Lagina, Bachelor at Arms. And he has a fun backstory about being a bachelor on the back of the card.
Yep.
So you're going to want to look at that. Then we got the rowdy one, David Blankenship. And he's a pirate. He's wearing the, pirate getup.
Wearing pirate stuff.
And he has a fun story on the back of his card about being a pirate. So there's kind of a theme there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's the only card that we actually haven't shown off yet until this moment, publicly. And this is probably going to be a real big hit. Like,
I sure hope so.
This is Billy Gerhardt, King of the Cove.
King of the Cove!
So Deidre had made a
King Billy
card a while back. This is a completely different design.
Yes.
And so if you saw the other one before, you haven't seen what this is going to end up looking like. So good. And his story on the back of his card is...
It's epic.
It's really good. So you're going to want to look at that. And then the last card of the first set is Captain Jack Bigley with little Gary, his pet parrot. So we... this is... Oh, here comes one of our children. Hi. Oh, there's our big boy. Hi, David. Okay, so if you want to get these cards, you will just go to patreon.com/OakIslandPodcast, and you can get your very own set of Oak Island trading cards.
Sure can.
So real quick, we changed how a couple things go on Patreon. If you go there and sign up for the cards, you can still get them at the lowest way to support, the lowest amount, the lowest tier to support us is a $5 Bobby Dazzler tier. And we changed that to 25. The first 25 will get it at that price because we didn't really think this out and how it was going to cost to ship these things. So we're like going to be losing money printing these out and shipping them. We're not here to like make a fortune or anything. We just kind of want to break even. And so shipping to like I think about half of our listenership is from Canada, and international shipping is not cheap. And like we shipped out to Australia, we shipped out to all over America as well. But so we're going to do the first 25 people to sign up can get it at that $5 rate. And then there's another tier where it's going to be $8 past the first 25. So, but we wanted to make sure that some people got in at that price because we don't have, we haven't got 25 people yet to be patrons. So we just wanted to make sure that people got an opportunity to get that price. But once that's full, it's going to be $8 for the set, and you'll get those. You'll get a set of cards just like these every single month going forward. And I mean, those cards are pretty sweet and legit.
They're rad.
So if you want it at the $5, do it soon. If you want it at if you don't mind doing the $8, I mean, go for it that way too. So we just want to say thank you guys for supporting us, and I guess that's it. Is there anything else today?
I don't think so.
All right, well.
Until next time.
Could it be?
Right where the water's coming out, we'll just take like a quarter of a bucket full.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. It's a whole box right here.
Holy smokes.